thousands of protesters dueling over school policies on gender identity.
Teachers and school boards shouldn't indoctrinate children.
No one's indoctrinating your kids.
Across Canada, this has been a day of protest, counter-protest, and even some confrontations.
And if they are learning about it, good.
Whatever's being taught to our kids, parents should have a right to know about that.
And we will get rid of this hate that is approaching us again.
Canadian parents are giving a hard no to your indoctrination. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to comment and you don't know what to comment, just put a knife, because you know they're going to come for my neck on this one especially. Here's the deal, you guys. Canadian parents all across Canada are saying no sir, no ma'am, no anything in between to indoctrination. And I gotta say, it's a parent's right to mess their kids up any way they want to mess them up and to say no to anybody else putting their influence on kids.
Parents should be the final arbiters of what your children are learning in the classroom.
And I am tired of the media not doing us any kind of favor by referring to things as anti-LGBT that are not anti-LGBT. Because what's starting to happen is that the LGBT activists are really turning us into a boy who cried wolf. If you don't remember the boy who cried wolf story, he kept telling the town, there's a wolf, and then when there really was a wolf, nobody believed him. And that's what's going to happen with the LGBT community. Because you're going to keep pushing, this is anti-LGBT, this is anti-LGBT. And then when something that really is anti-LGBT ends up happening, nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to pay attention. They're going to be like, you're complaining again about stuff that nobody cares about. And that is not what we are trying to have happen in the LGBTQ community. So maybe we need to be a little more sparing when we're throwing around there's an anti-LGBT protest. No, that's a pro-parent protest. It's also a pro-child protest. It's not anti-LGBT to say, I don't want my child to be learning this in school. I want my child to learn reading, writing, math. Let's go back to teaching them cursive if you feel like they're not getting enough education in school. As a Mexican American, nobody ever gave any special curriculum about what it is to be Mexican American. There was never any extra curriculum on what it meant to be black. There was never any extra curriculum on what it meant to be Jewish. There was never any extra curriculum on what it meant to be Asian. I think you can see where I'm going. So I'm not sure why Canada should have to have this extra curriculum that is catered to LGBT and telling kids what trans is and telling kids what non-binary is and telling kids all these options that they could possibly be. Maybe just let the kids be whatever they are, and then when they grow up, they'll let you know, and then you can navigate that with your child at the point that they actually bring it up to you, rather than have the school bring it up to the kids and say, hey, did you know you could be all of these things? If it's as natural as you say, then we shouldn't need anybody to teach us about it. It will just innately come to us, and we will learn to express that as we get older. So let the kids be kids for as long as they're kids, and then when they let you know something different, cross that bridge when you get to it. Not the teachers that may have their own agenda and may be trying to pump up their own numbers for their own political reasons, which we won't get into that right now, but I think that's a lot of what it is. Let's not have those people be the biggest influence in a kid's life. Let's let the parents be the biggest influence in a kid's life. Maybe I don't mind my kid being trans. Maybe I don't mind my kids being gay or lesbian. Maybe I don't mind my kids being a they or them. I do, but maybe I don't. I'm going to be a parent one day, and I'll put up with a lot of things, but I ain't having a they and a them. I'm going to sit them down. But really, I am going to sit them down and be like, look, you can be a he, a she. Those are your choices. I'm not adopting they, them pronouns because you've decided you feel a little funny, Stephanie. But it's a parent's right to say, I'm going to raise my kid the way that I want to raise my kid. And maybe I don't want want you influencing my kid in any way when it comes to these types of things, because I know when I'm a parent, I will be 100% fine with my kid being trans if that's what they turn out to be and if that's what they decide to do once they are an adult. I will make sure they fully develop the way that they're supposed to and then make any alterations. But I also will have them talk to some of the level-headed trans people that I know, and that's where I would like for them to learn about being trans. I don't want some teacher that may be a kook, that completely doesn't think the way that I think, or isn't going to teach things to my kid the way that I think that they should be taught. And it is my choice to say that. You may not like it, but it just is what it is. Our parents will always have influence in our life. No matter how much you try to step in and say, oh, the parents should be able to do this and the parents shouldn't be able to do that. Parents are going to be the biggest influence that we have when we're kids. And they should. Maybe I think that the healthiest trans people I know are the ones that fully do acknowledge that they were actually born what they were born. So they were born a boy or they were born a girl. And yeah, now they present as something different. They look like something different. That doesn't mean that it changes their biology. When it comes to non-binary, I really don't want anybody teaching my kids about non-binary because I personally do not believe that non-binary is a real thing. I think non-binary is a way for bored kids that feel like they want to be part of a struggle that they aren't necessarily a part of to be able to adopt that struggle and appropriate that struggle. That's the way I feel about non-binary. And when I'm a parent, I will teach my kid that that's the way I feel about non-binary. Also, part of what Canadian parents are upset about or protesting is the fact that parents want to be informed if their child is under the age of 16 and requiring that teachers and faculty refer to them in certain pronouns or as a different name. Should you not be aware that that's what's going on? Because if you don't know, not too long ago on TikTok, you had a bunch of people pretending to have dissociative personality disorder. And so they were running through their different personalities. Well, even though it's very rare and it wasn't what they were presenting it as on TikTok, if your kid is going through some kind of episode, should you not be informed of that? Who knows what that family is going through? So to decide that parents shouldn't have any say in how their kid is educated when it comes to matters of LGBTQ, and also to say that parents shouldn't have any knowledge of what it is their kids are doing in school really does make no sense. And maybe I say this because I come from a Generation X is what I am, even though I know I'm going to get called a boomer for some of the things I'm saying. But we knew that when we came out, we were possibly going to have to deal with the fact that our parents may not accept it and we may have gotten kicked out of our houses. I didn't get kicked out of my house when I came out, but I did come out at 16, and I was seriously tortured by the fact that I was going to have to tell my parents this terrible thing and I was possibly going to get kicked out. But I feel like I'm a stronger person because I walked through that fire and I told them, this is what I am, this is who I am. They said, no, you're not. And that is 100% the way that it went. They tried to talk me out of it. They tried to make me feel silly about it. But I do feel like that did make me stronger, and that did make me more sure and more secure in what it is I am and what it was I was saying. And so even though that wasn't ideal, I still feel like it made me a stronger person. And that's why I feel so comfortable saying I am a proud gay man, because I have actually owned this. I'm not asking anybody to excuse me for it. I'm not asking anybody to pretend it's not happening. I'm not asking for anybody to cover for me about it. I am saying this is 100% who I am. I don't care what anybody around me thinks about it. And so when you're saying that the kids shouldn't have to tell their parents because their parents may not be happy about it or there may be a consequence, to me, that is the antithesis of what pride is supposed to be. That is shame. Also, when you're saying that kids have a right to not have this be disclosed to their parents, I'm not even sure where all these rights came from. Because when I was a kid, we had no rights.
Parents would not be informed if a child makes that kind of decision without the child's consent.
But then you're saying at the same time that kids have the right to identify and change their name and tell the faculty of their school that they are whatever they are. It's kind of like you're trying to give them the rights of adults, but at the same time, the protections of being a child. And it can't be both. They're either an adult or they're a child. So if you're treating them like an adult, part of being an adult is owning up to what it is you are and dealing with whatever the consequences may be for you owning what you are. Anyway, let me know what you think down below in the comments. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.